Well, deep brain stimulation can be very helpful, it's showing now, for Alzheimer's patients. And here to talk more about it is Dr. Dean Sutherland. Dr. Sutherland, thanks for being with us this morning. So first of all, let's talk about deep brain stimulation, what it is.
You know, it sounds like science fiction or something you would see on Star Trek, but actually deep brain stimulation has been used for 12 years here in the United States and researched for quite a while. And it's not that difficult overall a technique now that we know what to do. It involves putting a small electrode through the skull, a little hole in the skull about the size of a nickel, and an electrode is placed down through the brain tissues until we get to the right area. And when we're there, we can actually put a little pacemaker, just like a cardiac pacemaker, into the chest, and it can last the rest of your lifetime. We've been using it for about 12 years or so for essential tremors like Katherine Hepburn had, and for Parkinson's disease like Michael J. Fox has. But it's not for everybody. It's only for selected patients. But what's cool about this study, though, now is that Dr. Andres Lozano at the University of Toronto is actually trying to treat a very obese patient by stimulating part of the hypothalamus, which is deep down in the brain. And before we do these tests and after we do these tests, we take these cognitive tests to make sure that people aren't becoming demented as a result of the surgery. So what he actually discovered is, alternative to what he thought, this one patient got better, and this patient already had some mild Alzheimer's disease. Memory got a little bit better. So as a follow-up to that, he then studied 6 patients, and they also seemed to stabilize. What's the cool thing about it is he noticed that when we went back and looked at their brains on MRIs, the part of the brain called the hippocampus that's associated with memory got bigger.
Wow.
It grew. You never see that. In Alzheimer's patients over time, it shrinks. Every single year, it shrinks by about 5%. Well, in this study, one patient's hippocampus got 5% bigger, and another one got 8% bigger.
Okay, so some pretty good results. And you've used it yourself with some of your Parkinson's patients.
That's right, and essential tremor patients, right? So for some patients who nothing else seems to be working for, it works quite well. It's got its own problems because you can get infections in the brain. You want to make sure you're in the right spot, and you want to make sure that the pacemaker is placed properly. So there's a lot of other issues that go along with it, but when it's done properly, it can work very well, and it can actually be almost a lifesaver. There are so many patients that will come back and thank us and say, "This has changed my life. I'm so glad that you did this."
And so in the study, one of these patients was early in the Alzheimer's disease. Is this something that would probably work better for someone who is diagnosed early, starts this treatment early?
Absolutely. Usually when it gets to the point where it's moderate or late Alzheimer's, this is not going to be a treatment at all. This is for people who probably have a risk factor, such as a very strong family history, or their testing shows that they have early Alzheimer's, you know, age 60 or so. And nothing else is really working. We do have a couple of drugs that we use for Alzheimer's that are minimally effective. I mean, they do help slow the course of the disease, but they don't cause growth of the brain. And you know, so that's what's so exciting about this.
Yeah, a better result, but it's probably something you need to talk to your doctor about because it's specific. May not be the option for you or your family.
Absolutely. They're doing a study with 50 patients now, enrolling 50 patients. So if you know somebody who may have some mild Alzheimer's disease and is adventuresome,
might be interested in trying something. Okay, well then that might be an option for them. All right, thank you, Dr. Sutherland.
Thank you.
And now we will be Skyping live with Lulu and Maverick from 106.